I see tarot as very much like a book, and you can do a multi-layered spread where each spread is like a different chapter in the book. And I wanted to share this with you. As a professional reader, I get asked all sorts of questions, often very, very complicated, from people that really just don't know where to go in their life. So I'm sharing a reading now. I'm obviously reading for myself, but I hope this technique might help you. So I'm going to ask about my business. I don't really feel like sharing personal relationships here. And I'm just going to ask right now, how am I doing? Advice and likely outcome. I have no idea what the cards will say. So let's have a look. I like to cut the deck. That's really up to you. One card to represent how am I doing. Queen of Cups. I do think I need to focus more on my healing. I think I've got caught back into the tarot. I love the tarot, and definitely self-care. So we'll put that there. Something I need to deal with and to overcome and integrate. Knight of Wands. Definitely my energy levels have been quite low. I tend to jump into something completely, totally exhaust myself and then have to pull myself out. So he needs regulating. Advice. Embrace conflict. Possibly. Actually, I think that's probably what my business looks like to most people. You know, I do online teaching, I do one-to-one teaching, I do workshops, I do shaman healing. I think a lot of people, when they find my website, it's a little overwhelming. I need to get these all lined up for my own benefit as much as anyone else's. Outcome. Now, I know a lot of people don't like this card, but actually I do. I think every card can be positive. And for me, this is about blue sky thinking. So if we look at this card, you can see here there appears to be a battle encampment. Over here there appears to be an army. He is stealing these swords, but I like to think, excuse me, he's leaving two behind, so that the two army commanders can have a duel and save the lives of thousands of people. I have a feeling what this means is I'm going to need to cut back some of what I offer and repackage slightly less. That's what I would say. I like to look at the cards at the bottom of the pack. This is something I need to know, and in tarot, what you're looking for is the combination of the meanings of all these cards. So what I've said to you is that I need to self-care, make sure I include my shaman healing, regulate my energies, clean up what I offer because it's a bit of a mess, offer less, and there we have clarity, a plan. I never had a plan for this. I just kind of, you know, people would say, oh, could you do this? Could you do online teaching? Because I live in America. Yeah, of course I can. I never planned it through. I think it's time I had a plan. So that's the first reading. That's the first chapter. Now, when I'm reading for a client, hopefully my client is engaged. Hopefully my client is finding the truth in this and acknowledging it. And actually I am. I'm going, yeah, that works. I can see that. Okay, tarot. So I agree with that. I'm making a firm commitment, and in fact I'm going to work with a business coach to help me to do this. I'm going to clear up what I do, make it much simpler, much tighter. If I do that, what happens then? Now this is the interesting thing, reshuffle. You've changed the future. I've changed the future. By reading this tarot and acknowledging the truth in it, I have now changed my future. Looking at this, if I'd carried on with this energy cycle and this mess, then I am going to get overexhausted. So I'm going to change that. It's going to really hurt me to cut back some of the things I offer because I love everything that I do, but it's not manageable. So I acknowledge that. I will have a plan for the first time. I will cut away those things that aren't serving me or aren't working and simplify everything. And then you repeat the reading. Get a feel. Is that right? You know I like to cut. And here we go. Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords arguably is a more helpful card than the Knight of Wands, because there is his Ace of Swords. There is his plan. It is suggesting that if I have a clear plan, I will feel much more focused and energized. Four of Cups, I do tend to like to jump into things. The Four of Cups is a card of waiting, allowing things to work through, allowing yourself to know exactly what is the right way forward. So it's suggesting that I need to not rush with this. Advice: the Sun, feeling secure and comfortable. We have a wall here. Seeing things with fresh eyes with the child. And the Sun here, notice how the lines are straight, that is to represent the masculine energy, and wibbly, as it were, to represent the feminine energy. Integration. I think for me the next step is to not be seen as a shaman flip tarot reader, but that is who I am, that the two are one. You always get both. To integrate everything that I do. Outcome, not such a nice one, the Devil. I'm going to be curious to see what the card at the bottom of the pack is, but having had the Knight of Swords and the Sun and the Devil, then I can't help but wonder if the clue to the Devil is to lighten up, to cast some light. Notice how the torch is thrust down and they can't see him. They are chained to something and they can't see him. Then the Devil, if you throw light on the Devil, you see the Devil, and then the problem is fixed. You're released from this this bondage, as it were, self-limiting beliefs that trap you. So I would like to think we've got the Page of Cups at the bottom. Playfulness, youthfulness, falling in love again, connecting to my psychic, feeling full of heart. I often think the Page of Cups has a big heart. I would like to think, looking at this spread, that actually what's going to happen is I do self-limit myself. I'm just like everyone else. I have self-limiting beliefs. But looking at this spread, I think I'm keeping myself too busy, too cluttered, due to feelings of lack of self-esteem. By having a much clearer plan and following it through more steadily, I will be releasing these self-limiting beliefs. If I was reading for a client, I may well follow this through 4 or 5 times. But I'm going to draw it an end there. But if you are left with a difficult card there and you want to really understand it, shuffle again and ask. I want one card to show me what the Devil means. Am I right? Am I releasing my inner limits? Or actually is there something more dark going on there? Ask. That's what the tarot's for. But I would say always, if you're asking something new, shuffle. Even if you've got cards out like I have. Yeah. So there we go. Ten of Wands. I have definitely kept myself over busy to avoid looking at how I'm self-limiting. And arguably my husband would call me a workaholic. Probably my children too. I think this spread is about me learning to work smart rather than overworking due to lack of self-esteem. So that's an example of how I read. This is actually why I read with 2 decks. I also read with Druidcraft, because there comes a point when I may well not have that many cards left, and I may want to keep this spread out because it's like a story. So I would in fact then continue with this deck, and then sometimes I will unwind and want to go back. But you can keep it simple to begin with. Perhaps 3 rows is enough to begin with.